Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do a quick episode for you today about flint. Now you would have seen my recent episodes on my new flint and steel fire kit, which I'm really enjoying using, and it's something I'm planning on using a lot more of. Now that got me thinking that, you know, it came with some really nice bits of flint as part of the kit, but obviously there are kind of a finite resource as far as the fact that you kind of do end up breaking small pieces off as you use them. So I was out for a little wander in my local woodland, and I've picked up some pieces of flint that are just sort of natural to me. Now there's none bigger than, say, this, and I'll give you a close-up of these shortly. But also had a very good friend of mine who lives on the coast who sent me a few bits that he'd found for me, slightly bigger, not massively large. You know, we're not going to be making any spearheads or anything like that with this, but what I thought I would do is give you a quick rundown on flint knapping. Now what is flint knapping, I hear you ask? Essentially it's a way of breaking off pieces of flint from a bigger rock and turning it into, in this, or for our purposes, into flints that are going to be useful for a flint and steel. You know, I'm not particularly good at this, I've only recently just started, but essentially it's a way of sort of directing your force to break off small flakes with sharp edges. That's the important part, so that they will take a spark from a steel. So what I'll do, I'll bring the camera a bit closer in, I'll show you this little selection, and then we'll make a start and try some knapping. Right then guys, so here is my little selection. This is the stuff that I found locally, and this is the stuff that was sent to me. Now, to give you an example, this is one of the pieces that was sent to me. It's nice black flint. Now this is supposedly the best type of flint for taking a spark. Seems to have sort of the best ability to do so. I don't know much of the science behind it, but black is generally meant to be the best type of flint. And I've got a nice little selection of this, and I'll be taking some flakes off these later. These are what I found local to me, and this is more of a yellow flint. And I think a lot of people looking at these, especially for the first time, will sometimes get confused thinking it's not flint because the black stuff is kind of, you know, more traditionally recognisable. Now this stuff, and I did originally think this might be chert. I don't think it is, but by all means correct me in the comments if that is the case. Where's another good piece? Let's have a look. There we go. So again, you can see it's quite a distinctive sort of yellowy brown colour. Now I've taken some flakes off some of these already, and they do spark very well. And in fact, if I find the piece I was using earlier, it had quite a nice little sharp section on there. You may be able to see it in this light. We're getting sparks off it. And what else do I have here? So I've got my striker, obviously. I've got my leather apron, which I'm going to be using shortly. I just fold this up and put it over my leg, as that seems to be the most sort of sensible way of doing it. And then I've got this. Now this is just a random small rock. It's what's known as a hammerstone. It was the largest one I could find, but it's got a little bit of heft to it. And the idea is once you're set up, you take this, you clamp down your flint, and you strike it on the edges to try and break off a flake. Now that's the theory, and that's what we're going to be trying to do today. So I'm just going to very, very quickly move the camera around again. We'll get set up and we'll make a start. Right then guys, so safety first. I'm using my sunglasses because that's what I've got to hand, but you really do need eye protection for this because you can get bits of flint flying off. Now I've just taken a quick practice strike on this before I started filming, and actually got a nice, probably the best one I'll do today I suspect, but hopefully you can see. So I've had it up this way on top of my little piece of leather, and I've taken my hammerstone and I've hit kind of right on the edge up here. And what that's done, never mind, drop that, is it's flaked away this piece here. Now this might be a little bit big for your flint and steel fire kit, but hopefully you can see you've got some really nice sharp edges there. And don't forget, you know, I'm doing this for fire lighting purposes and something that will allow me to strike sparks, which it's doing really well. But originally, you know, apart from fire lighting, or before fire lighting even, these were used to make tools. They would make knife blades out of them, axe blades, arrowheads, spearheads. It's something I might try and get into. It is a skill I'd like to try and learn, but for the time being I'm just going to be using this to create flakes for my fire kit. You know, I might look at trying to get some antler tines or something like that, so you can do something called pressure flaking, which is essentially taking your freshly broken off flake and then you chip away at the edge with an antler tine to shape it how you want. But anyway, enough of that. Let me find another suitable piece of this stone. Here's probably a good one. So I'm going to be aiming, if you look just here, you've got a little flat section here, it comes down at a little bit of an angle, and I'm going to be aiming for sort of the lower half of this. Make sure you can see me. And I'm going to be aiming roughly about here. Okay, so what I've basically just done is broken off a load of tiny little bits. I mean, you could use these for fire lighting, but they're a bit small for my liking, so we'll try that again. Okay, actually that's probably going to help us. So although I've broken this in half unintentionally, it has given me some more flatter areas to work with. And again, as I said guys, I'm very new to this. I'm kind of feeling my way along. But now that I've got this little section here, this has got a slight downwards kind of angle to it, and that's what I want. I want to aim for this downward angle here and try and break off a flake from this flat piece underneath. So let's give that a go. Okay, not going so well. Let me try again. Okay, that's not so bad. It's a little bit on the small side, but again, this little flake here, which would fit perfectly in something like a small Altoids tin or something like that, is going to be really good for fire lighting. So if I just grab my steel, try it the other way around. Hang on. So plenty of sparks off this, and I think what I'll do, let me move the camera around a little bit, I'll find another suitable piece and I'll see if we can get something a little bit better. So there we go guys, a really nice sort of multi-sided piece here. Again, you should be able to take a spark off of all of these sides. And what I was meant to mention today guys, again not massive, but these are really sharp shards of flint. Obviously, as I said, they were originally used for cutting tools, you know, and you can do more work to them in order to make them even sharper. But you know, you do need to be careful of this. I mean, I've seen people who wear gloves for this. I mean, I don't think I need to personally. But you know, obviously if you are a little bit concerned about cutting up your hands, gloves may not be a bad option. But you know, these are the kind of things. So we've got this piece here, we've got that little original piece that was a little bit bigger, and then we've got something like this, these little small, and I think a lot of people would maybe ignore these in lieu of something bigger. But you know, if you're sticking these like myself into sort of an Altoids sized tin, you know, little pieces like this are going to work really well. Right then guys, so those are my thoughts on knapping flint for flint and steel fire lighting. Something that's really new to me. I'm quite enjoying this at the moment, as in it's a new skill. I'm not very good at it, but I'm enjoying the learning process as I go along. I mean, with the amount of flint that I've got here, I mean, I have got enough of this for fire lighting purposes. I would suggest for a very long time. But is that going to stop me experimenting and playing with it? Absolutely not, because if I can get better at sort of flaking off the types of shards that I want that are going to allow me to strike better sparks, then all the better. So I hope it was useful guys. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Cheers guys.